This is a regular meeting agenda of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, November 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Call this meeting to order for the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Donato?
Here.
Councilman Bronford?
Present.
Councilman Catalano?
Here.
Councilman Graziano?
Here.
Councilwoman Hudson? Here. Councilwoman Schubert? Here. Councilman Yasi?
Here. Okay, we also have the municipal clerk, Marietta Smith, business administrator Michael Sonnemeyer, and borough attorney Dawn Sullivan. This meeting is called to pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Herald News on January 9, 2025. Copies were provided to the local news media and posted continuously in the municipal building. A copy of this notice is available to the public as on file in the office of municipal clerk. As per state fire code, I am required to acknowledge that there are two emergency exits in this council chamber. The main entrance which you enter through, a secondary exit to the left of where I am seated. If there is an emergency, walk orderly to the exit, exit through the door, down the stairs, and out the building. If there are any questions, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we do not have any non-agenda items. We will be removing, under new business, removing item D, the award contract to the Bloomingdale Senior Center and Repair. That contract is not completely ready for adoption. We'll probably do that in December. Okay, we have a motion to open up early public comment.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to come up?
I have a number of items.
Where's the,
It's right there in front of you.
Oh, it's on the clock.
Okay, I gotta pull the table.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Linda Huntley, 86 Vandale. First one is just a matter of comment for the 2.5% raise for the department heads and non-union employees. I know I mentioned this last January when we did this, about the 2% cap, and I was told that we'd always come in under the cap. Well, we know we didn't do that this year. So I just think that that's something that should be reconsidered. Second item I got is for the garbage trucks, the garbage truck. The first proposal was received on 3/5/25 for the chassis. For the body, the proposal came in 10/23/25. Was this included in the budget?
This is not in the budget.
This is not-
in the budget.
No, we have a garbage truck's got 147,000 miles on it. It went out door one completely, we just sold it. Correct? All right, because it had 157,000 miles on it, it's not running anymore. So we're short one garbage truck to cover the work that needs to be done in Bloomingdale. So we're purchasing the garbage truck at the end of the year through the lease program that we have within our budget. So that's where that money's coming from.
So all of the debt, all the money's coming from there, not from any place else?
Coming from the bank. The first payment of $50,000 will come out of the recycling tonnage and tonnage trust and tonnage grant.
This recycling trust has 21,608. Where else is the other money coming from?
The recycling grant. We're getting, correct me if I'm wrong, 51,000 of that is out of those two.
There's roughly $2,000 that's gonna have to come out of the budget. 2,000 out of the 55.
Deposit. Which that we paid for 5 years?
It'll be 7 years.
7 years paid off, and the trucks last 10 to 12.
We're getting about 13 years out of the trucks right
Right,
now.
so we're not bonding money to pay for 30 years, we're getting paid off in 7 years.
Are you still borrowing money? You do the lease program, that's still borrowing
It's
money.
built into our budget, yes. Okay.
And why wasn't this budgeted beforehand? If you had in March and in October, you got proposals, why wasn't it in the budget?
We had to wait to see where we are at this time of the year. The one truck has been down. Frank, I'm just gonna, just correct me if I'm wrong, The one truck has been down a lot since we tried to get through the year with what we had, and it's just not working. And it takes approximately 5 months to get a truck, so that truck will not be here until sometime next year. So we placed the order now, and then the truck will be in next year's budget,
Cabin chassis are taking about 8 to 10 weeks to get
in 10 weeks.
Okay, the next item is the resolution 2025-11-13 for the cancellation of the water capital ordinance. Where is this going is this going to the water and sewer capital surplus?
Yes.
Because that doesn't, it's not what it says in the resolution. It just says to the credited to capital surplus.
But anything water has to go to water, correct?
Yes.
That's why I just want to make sure that happens.
Yes.
Can that be adjusted to make sure that that does specifically state that?
Well, that's where it should go, that's where I want it to go, so it's kind of, or whether it states or not, that's where it's going. It's not coming into the regular budgets, that's what you're going with. Yeah,
No, not in the council, we passed something.
right. We're kind of in agreement with that, water takes care of water. Right?
The next item is, what is the status of the live streaming of the meetings?
I have not done any research in this since I talked to the kennel on that.
I thought we said we could do that.
Oh, we could, but we're just not there yet. I want to open it up.
How long is that going to take?
I don't know. I haven't really to be honest with you, I have not really given it much thought since we talked about it, because we're dealing with other stuff going on. And with the holidays and everything coming, so probably next year.
When next year?
I don't know, I can't give you a date.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to come up to agenda items? Okay, motion to close early public? All in favor? Aye. Okay, report of committees?
Mayor, the senior center, so that one comment that, the repair, that's for the HVAC, it's not being, it's still being, they're gonna work on it, correct? The HVAC repair?
You meant D under new business.
Yeah. D, that's under new business, that has been removed. Okay, that, we did not award a contract to the bids because we're not ready to accept the bids that can't come in. They are being reviewed. All right, so that is being removed from the agenda tonight.
So, from Monday's meeting with, Mike was there about the, repairs that, the construction that's gonna be done, that's in, you guys haven't awarded that bid yet. right?
Correct.
The governing body has not.
We have not approved, you guys have not approved that yet. Once that bid comes in, it gets reviewed again by our engineer and then by our attorney to say everything is good. And then we will accept whatever bid has, fits.
The lowest bid that had
The
everything.
lowest
qualified.
responsible bidder
Yes.
Correct.
is what the statute
Correct.
requires.
And we're not there yet because those bids are still being reviewed.
Okay, they
But
have,
that work will be done.
as far as the senior center, December 1st, they have a, Portobello Golden Age Club, event. December 15th, they are hosting their, function for the police department. On, December 17th, the senior center will, have the children's band concert. They're gonna perform for them. And every second Tuesday of the month, the Bloomingdale Senior Center does have the, health screenings. And, for any, interested seniors in the town, we will be including, for the next, tax letter in January, they are going to include a little, notification, 1 page, so people understand that, that the senior center is here and all the resources. And online, they have all the functions that they could go online on our Bloomingdale website, the town, plus various Facebook pages. For Triborough, their numbers for October to date were 185 calls. Year to date, we're 1663. They don't have any fundraisers for the rest of the year. And as for the library, they have many activities coming up. Next year is their 100-year anniversary. They're going to be preparing a lot of interesting events for that. And they also have coming up the children's on Tuesday, December 9th. There's a child waterless snowboat craft, and of course and on December 15th, sponsored by the Bloomingdale Library, they're going to hold classes at Fireman's Hall for another, it's a sculpting collage and sculpt class. December 15th, ages 5 to 11, that's for the children's. And of course, online, you can, on their library website, they have their book club and their series for the Stephen King true crimes. And again, the Bloomingdale Library has, there's also very important for any citizens that would like to become a U.S. citizen. There's a huge, there's resources for them to do that, including language. That's something that it's important. And Allie, the director, she was nominated and voted as a member of the executive board for PALS Plus, and that's going to give her a louder voice with the consortium going forward, which is an accolade for her.
Just the one thing with Triborough, I spoke to, I believe, their captain on Saturday, and last month they answered 96% of their calls, which is actually really, really good. For Triborough for the state, so that's kudos to them. John?
EDC met last night doing final preparations for the holiday stroll. It's December 13th, around 4:30 to 7, and we're all set. From everybody that's involved, DPW, police, from us up here, from EDC, rec, library, we're all systems go. So looking forward to a nice evening. That's all.
Yes, put a couple things off our social media as a reminder. Borough Hall is closed Thursday, November 27th, Friday, November 28th, and no GPW pickup as well. Borough Hall is also closed Thursday, December 25th, along with no GPW pickup. December 17th at 7 p.m. will be the menorah lighting ceremony here at Town Hall. Fill the Fleet is Saturday, November 29th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Bloomingdale Fireman's Hall. Police and fire departments will be there. Bring an unwrapped toy to help fill the police car and the fire truck. Health screenings every second Tuesday of the month from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Borough Hall Council Chambers. Anyone interested, they do blood pressure, blood glucose, cholesterol, hemoglobin. Passaic County also offers lead testing. All children under age 6 should be tested at least twice for elevated levels. Anyone interested, 973-881-4396. Also, for the uninsured and those enrolled in New Jersey Family Care Plan, there's a monthly children's wellness clinic. This is for state-required vaccinations and physicals. There are 4 locations, and all the information is on the borough website under the health department page. There's also free eye and hearing screenings, specifically vision, glaucoma, and hearing. For appointments, 973-881-4396. That is also for residents who are underinsured or without insurance. I know I mentioned this last meeting, I'm going to mention it again. Ham radio. Pompton Lakes 13 has a ham radio group. They're looking for people in Bloomingdale, amateur radio operators. They meet several times a year for in-person meetings and training period. They hold weekly net check-ins every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. in which all licensed operators are invited and encouraged to check in. If anyone wants more information, you can contact Mike V0311 at protonmail.com or message Pompton Lakes CERT on Facebook. Santa is coming to town on December 20th and 21st with our fire department. The route schedule would be posted on the fire department social media page, and as a reminder, please do not call the police desk asking where Santa is. You'll find it on social media, and they also have, I believe, an app, right, John?
Yeah.
They can follow.
Travel amp, and you'll hear them.
Yeah. DPW, as a reminder, leaves at the curb in a leaf bag, and the DPW will collect them multiple times a week. Also, the DPW is open Saturdays from 8 to 12 for everything but garbage. Also, a reminder, if you have not signed up for our emergency notification system, you can do so. You can go to the town website. On the homepage, bottom right-hand side is Rave. You can also click on the Rave link if you would like to edit your account.
Right. Nothing. Dave?
Yes, the Environmental Commission met on November 5th, and they are actively looking for community members who are interested in joining, and wanted to share that there are drop-offs, containers at the DPW for packaging film as well as styrofoam and batteries. The Board of Education met on November 19th, and there was a presentation by their architect, and they will be submitting or opening up for bids shortly for the renovation to Walter T.
Dave, nothing?
Nothing to report there.
Mike?
Nothing back there.
Great.
Nothing this evening, Rick.
Just for me, I don't know if anybody really knows, Linda Bennett is moving out of town. I think she heard last,
The 19th.
the 19th of December, she sold her house and she's, I believe, moving to South Carolina. I think as a borough, we should really appreciate what she did with the Sloan Park Summerfest that she organizes, and she's a really big part of the toy drive. So a big thank you to Linda Bennett and also her husband for helping out, because Stephen's been Santa a few times.
Yep.
All right. But she's very instrumental in the public events that she started down at Sloan Park and kind of kicked off Sloan becoming what it is. I believe they'll be collecting toys this Sunday at Spanzini's, is it right? Spazzini's up in Butler, and she will be there, so if anybody would like to stop up and say thank you, she will be there. I think that's 12. That also is 12 to 3. There's a lot of stuff going on for the toy drive. And there's people donating and putting boxes all over through our businesses, which is great. But again, thank you to Linda for what she's done for our community and our communities next door, and the food pantries and everything else she's been involved with. And she still says the Quick Mart has the best potato salad in the area, but she put that on Facebook. So thank you to her and her business. Okay. Resolution number 2025-11.12, consent agenda. So a motion to accept the consent.
Second.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that in resolution number 2025-11.13, paragraph 2, line 2, we amend it to say balances may be credited to water and sewer capital surplus, grants receivable and unused debt.
Yeah, that's fine. You would have to then, if it passes, you would have to adopt the consent agenda as amended.
one separate.
We'll do that one separately. All right? Actually, can I
Okay, so
do
he
that?
made a motion to.
So that gives-
we need a
I'll
second.
second it.
You'll second it? Okay.
There's no need to add those words because it automatically goes to water and sewer, but if it makes you feel more comfortable, so
Yeah.
be it.
Okay, we have a amended version and a second on that. We'll do a separate roll call for this.
You're gonna roll on that for the consent agenda?
For 11, for.
Just for
Resolution
Just for-
2025.
Just for
11.
B. Just for B.
Bronkhorst,
Yes.
Catalano,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Schubert,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Okay. Now, resolution
You already have a motion for the consent agenda.
with the elimination of the.
So moved with the exclusion of B.
Okay.
Second.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Roll call, please.
Catalano,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Schubert,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Bronkhorst,
Yes.
Okay, new business. Discussion of Bloomingdale annual status progress report of the borough's floodplain management plan under community rating system. This is simply a report that our borough engineer submits to the New Jersey DEP for our stormwater management. He has to update it yearly. So this is, we did not have to have a vote on this. You just have to be aware, or if you have any questions, you can either email Tom or ask questions now if we can. But this is just an annual report that he has to file for stormwater management. Any questions on that?
It's a living, active report, so he said he can amend it with some of the comments we talked about today, Councilman Graziano. Some things that have been completed, or the process being completed, they're not 100%. I talked just this afternoon about the Star Lake Road one. It said if they haven't paved them yet full, the grass isn't growing yet, so it's not really truly completed. So he said, when that's done, we can amend it or just wait for the 2025 and we'll just take all that stuff off.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it might be a really important document. It captures all the good work we've been doing over the years, going back 10+ years, really. And every year we make progress on that to mitigate wherever we can flooding risk and water runoff in our town.
Yeah, I believe the Star Lake Road project we just finished is really gonna help out the middle of Catherine Street. Because the size pipe we put in, from a 6-inch pipe to a 32 or 42-inch pipe to take all the water from Catherine, that should really help out that center where we usually have flooding issues. We'll find out. Hopefully not, yeah, hopefully not. Okay. Item B, adoption of resolution number 2025 11.19. Payment of the bills. So a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please. Any questions?
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Schubert,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Bronkhorst,
Yes.
Catalano,
Yes.
Okay, item C, adoption resolution number 2025 11.20, transfer of appropriations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Hudson,
Yes.
Schubert,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Bronkhorst,
Yes.
Catalano,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Okay, item D we removed. Item E, purchase of a garbage truck. Adoption of resolution number 2020 11.21 for the 2026 Kenworth T480 6x4 chassis. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Schubert,
I do have a question. The chassis is the one that's completely gone, the 2008?
The chassis is the first part of the truck, and the second part is the rear loader, which takes the garbage in the back. There's two different items here. One is the truck itself, motor, cab, and the second one is the back part that gets mounted to the chassis. One doesn't work without the other.
And that's all to repair the 2008 replacement.
Yes, as we discussed before.
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Brunkhurst,
Yes.
Catalano,
No.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Adoption of resolution number 2025-11.22, Leach model TR3 rear loader body. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Brunkhurst,
Yes.
Catalano,
No.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Schubert,
No.
So you don't want the back part to go on the garbage truck?
She wants to
I don't
comment on
want, I don't want any truck, honestly, but I thought that the,
You can't have one without the other. Those things get in the chassis, we're not gonna buy the real loader to fill it up with garbage.
it. He's just puzzled. You voted yes on the chassis, but
yeah,
not
I
on
know,
the.
I know.
All right, you voted, that's fine.
I thought you said something about two separate trucks, like one and then
Motion
another.
carries.
Yeah,
one.
no, both of those, you put them together, you put
To make
the,
one truck.
you put those two items together to make one truck.
Okay.
Okay, the motion carried. Go ahead, that's fine. Motion over the late public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to come up? Come up.
Nancy, 17 Breland Avenue. Again, about the garbage truck, I just wanted to make it known that I had the ability to, through conversation, speak to a mechanic from Wayne who takes care of the trucks. They've got trucks into the 1980s that they still have going on. What's with our fleet that we can't keep our trucks that long?
I respect you talked to somebody in Wayne, but
Yeah.
that person has not seen our trucks. Our
Everyone,
trucks
he also says, yes, they got the proverbial, sign in the floorboard, the floor rotting, that famous story. They've got that too, but they've got trucks in the 1980s that they still got going on. But we still got to buy new ones. We got new ones, we got new ones.
This truck is a 2000 what, Frank?
The one that's gone.
The one that's gone.
2006.
2006, that was the one that we sold, right? That had 157,000 miles on it, and that's just miles, that's not hours on the back part that we put, I think this last year, actually the truck that we're replacing now, we put over $30,000 into that truck to keep it running. Does it make sense to spend good money for a bad piece of equipment and keep doing that, to repair it? I don't know what Wayne does, that's up to them, but I know here, taking $30,000 and to put it into a truck, that's a 2006, it's 2020, almost 2026. Take $30,000 and put it into it, that's just throwing money out the window. Well, a little bit more,
How much are new ones, or how much does the new one gonna cost?
3 and change?
The complete new truck is $315. The body itself is $160. The repairs on that body alone, when the blade rotted off, was over $60,000.
So, does that make sense?
And how much are new ones costing?
315.
315.
315. So you put 30,000 this year, 60,000 the year before, that's $90,000 to throw into a truck that's just gonna keep on breaking down. So when do you stop? When we can do I'll call it our lease payment, which is 52,000 about?
A year.
All right, a year, and pay that truck off in 5 years and keep it for 10 or 12 years.
But I mean, moving
Just-
forward, but moving forward, like, how is it that Wayne is able to keep those relics, the 1980s on, and then we can't?
I didn't talk to the guy in Wayne, and I don't know what Wayne does, how they operate their system. I would not put our employees into a truck that is being repaired, that's a 1980 truck going up every day with guys standing on the back of that truck, that's safety. I would never do that. What Wayne does is their business. What Wayne does is their business.
We don't,
I would never do
I
that.
don't know what their trucks are, but he said that they're able to maintain and keep, and they've got trucks all the way in the 80s, and I'm like going, well, why can't we do that? Like, what's
I don't-
wrong with our maintenance people?
I can't
Why
speak for
they-
Wayne, but I would not do that to our employees. On the back of a garbage truck, you have 2 guys standing on the side step on a 1980 truck, hauling going down a road, hauling garbage every single day. That's a complete safety issue. I don't know if the truck is rotted in Wayne, I don't know. Our trucks are rotting through. Do you know what the blade is?
Yes.
on the truck, you know, the back that comes down? $60,000 to replace that? Just makes no sense. It just doesn't to me.
Well, okay, moving forward, does it depend on which company that you buy your truck from that lasts longer? I mean, again, the guys from Wayne are able to keep their trucks alive. Again, I don't know how they're keeping it, but they're alive and well. So I don't know how they're doing it, what brand that they buy versus what brand that we seem to be buying that don't last that long, that die easily, that die
I don't know what Wayne does. I can't speak for Wayne. I can only speak for us.
We currently have 3 different trucks. The one that died last year was an International. The one that's in the process of dying is a Peterbilt, and we are switching to Kenworth.
Yeah, I don't know what Wayne has. Maybe I should look into that, see what Wayne has, and maybe they have their certain brand that they use seems to last. But when he said he maintains them and they're in the 1980s, that just blew my mind.
That's fine.
I'd love to see a report of how many trucks we
And how much
have
money they put
and
into
how many
this.
hours they spend in each one of the trucks.
You know,
for the
I'll
last
look
20
at that for
years.
you. I'll bring
Yeah,
that
I
back
would
to you.
love to see
I'll
that.
look into that. I've got
Because,
some time on my
just
hands.
coming
I'll
up
do that.
with one example of one thing for one town doesn't make it right or wrong.
I'll bring it
on
up.
what this
I'll
town
find out from
needs to
him.
service your needs.
Trust me, I'll find out for you and I'll come back
I
here and talk to you
appreciate
about
it.
it.
Thank you.
And I'd like to add to that too, the fact that, from what you said, the gentleman from Wayne said that, yes, they are using
He's
signs.
saying, yes, and they're using
I'm
sign.
saying-
Yeah,
That to me,
Seriously.
is not, looking after the well-being of their employees. And for me, the health and safety of our employees is paramount. And I would never agree, I 100% agree with John. We would never put our employee in something like that.
that's the proverbial one truck with the sign on it. Yes, and he had the proverbial sign at the bottom of the board. I get it. Everyone's got at least one of those. But it's not all the trucks that have
We
them, but
don't.
again.
So it's
but
one truck from the
We
eighties,
do not.
but you
I don't
make it seem
know.
like all the trucks are lasting since 1980.
I'm
And
gonna, you
Wayne
know what,
doesn't
I'm
do
gonna
their
find out.
own, Wayne doesn't do their own garbage.
So just happen to have a truck
We shouldn't
sitting.
speculate as to.
I will look into it further. I will find him out and I will ask him about what trucks are what, how, but he said they're mainly trucks in the 80s. And I'm just like, how are they doing in the 80s? And we've got to buy a fleet on the truck, so. It's like, okay, so I'll look into it.
That's fine.
Get back to
Thank you.
Good evening, Jennifer Oldfield, 17 Cedar Street, Bloomingdale. I just want to remind the council and the mayor that we, in the past years, have had several men that were on the back of the garbage truck get injured, and injured badly. We don't want that. It was horrific when it happened. I was on the council. Don't want to see that happen ever again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Karen Hughes, 40 from Fincher Street. I guess I have a question. The deer have been kind of getting out of control. And I don't know, do we have an ordinance not to feed the deer? I know like when we had the problem with the geese, we finally got the signs not to feed the geese, we got the geese police. And we know not to feed the bear. But I know there's people in the neighborhood feeding the deer and they're not even like afraid of us anymore. They can't even get them out of your yard.
I had 5 in my yard over the weekend. My wife was taking pictures out the front door.
So, yeah, I just,
They're there. I mean, they're all over the place.
oh, I know they're all over, but
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I don't know the answer.
because I do know there's some people that do live by the feed,
Yeah.
and they're feeding them in their backyards.
It's actually interesting, because we've been obviously discussing this deer thing for months now.
Yeah, and I know
That's
the
never been
police-
brought up.
The police had on Facebook to be careful driving and stuff, so.
With the 5 bears that are running around there.
Yes,
That's it.
in my
But we
yard.
know not to
I
feed
think
the
it's the same
bear.
5s. They're all over the place.
Yes.
They look the same.
They are.
That's all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Come on.
Marilyn Essner and Aaron Essner, 30 Berlin.
Joey, we do have them.
Oh, we do?
Sorry, what was your address? 30
There you
Berlin.
go.
So actually, how is that enforced?
first of all, I didn't know we had it. So it's under animal control. So we will talk to our animal control person and see what we can do to monitor that or enforce it.
Maybe that's something as well we can, since we didn't know it existed, maybe that's something that we should get out on our social media.
on the website.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll do it on,
We can work on that.
we'll work on that and get it on our social media pages, and that might help somewhat.
It's a starting place.
It's a starting point.
Yeah, because I know Joe mentioned this, but right 3 days ago, Bloomingdale police actually posted on their Facebook page that deer-related accidents has seen a significant increase over the past few weeks. So obviously a deer, doing something to control the deer population would impact that. Other people have spoken at the meeting about visibly seeing sick and injured deer walking around. Obviously, overpopulation has to do with an increase in disease, malnourishment, that impacts deer health. Driving around the neighborhood, we're going into winter, right? So there's no food for the deer anymore. And if you drive around the community, you see this browse line that everything's been eaten. There's nothing for the deer to eat. And I know you've talked about deer coming down Breland Avenue from Star Lake, and so I looked into that because I seem to see the same deer in my yard morning, noon, and night. They don't seem to be going anywhere. And there have been research studies that show that in suburban areas like ours, deer don't actually wander very far in nature. In large expanses of wooded areas, their range area is typically a square mile, but in suburban areas like ours, it's half of a square mile, or even like 1/3 of 1 square mile. So they're not roaming. They're not roaming. And as things are getting eaten, we used to see a lot of other animals. We used to see wild turkeys. We used to see rabbits. We used to see chipmunks. We don't see those anymore because the deer have eaten everything, 6 feet down. So we're sort of, by not doing anything about it, you're sort of choosing deer over everything else.
I don't think we're choosing anything, but as I said last meeting, I could never support a hunt that we talked about originally
I could.
in residential areas. I mean, I've had people throughout the town that, question it, or they've seen this on YouTube or whatever, and they said, you gotta get out of your mind to do that. You never know if a little kid's gonna be in the woods. You never know if somebody's, you just don't know. And I could never support that. I support hunting, I support the harvesting, if you wanna call it, all right, and all that. But to do it in a residential area, I personally, how everybody else feels is different, but I could never support that. That would be the wrong thing to do for our community, and I think the majority of our community would be outraged if we let that happen.
Well, so the state of New Jersey, right, they said that for a deer management permit to be effective, it has to include lethal in addition to non-lethal methods. And there's many other municipalities throughout New Jersey, throughout the country, that have done effective deer management control programs with community support. And I know that, you're all public servants, so you know that usually opposition is much more loud than support. And so I think in a way to gauge actual community, as to assess community, how the community feels about it, there should be some sort of a survey perhaps, because then you can really accurately gauge how people actually feel. Because, we've been speaking with friends and neighbors and, trying to get people, when we talk to people, they seem to be in support of it, and we encourage people to come to these meetings. But, usually it's when you're against something that you speak up. When you're pro something, you tend not to. You tend to sit back because you think that other people feel the same way that you do. It's a herd mentality. So, I think actually gauging and, to that point about a hunt, to really clear clear up sort of misconceptions. Again, I'm not a hunter, I'm a lifelong vegetarian, so I've never touched a gun in my life. But there's sort of perceptions around deer hunt, and then there's sort of reality. And, looking into it, in a municipality like ours, of course, you couldn't open it up to like Joe Smith hunter off the street, right? The hunt would be done in the middle of the night. If young children are wandering around, that's that's a completely different issue. I mean, that's more of a parenting issue than a hunting issue. But so I have some things I wanted to share for reading, but there's
Specifically, the concern that you've expressed before.
From your friend who's a hunter?
Is that, for bow hunting, for instance, someone can shoot an arrow at a deer and not hit it properly, but the arrow passes through or something, the deer runs. So this program that the state supports, there's resources available to support it. Is not that. It's not opening up hunting, anybody come on down and shoot whatever you want. It's not that.
No, I understand that.
It's a USDA trained, very specific and targeted program with USDA trained sharpshooters to address the issue. And there's some data.
What does that cost?
So,
does it say what it costs?
Quotes that I've seen, you pay per deer and includes the price of butchering. It's like $200 to $400, and food gets donated to food pantries. And so you're really just sort of covering the cost of the processing.
Think of it as like a surgical culling operation. It's not mass slaughter.
Where does the money come from us?
Well, that's what we're asking as tax-paying citizens. I mean, there's plenty of other things that we pay for with our taxes in the town that we personally don't ever utilize, and we don't have children, and we've never used to public schools, we don't plan to. So, and I believe the paperwork that we shared the last time we were here talks about a grant. The state has grants that can cover this. But, the sharpshooters, to talk about an uncomfortable subject a little bit more, but they, for example, they have to take a test showing that they can shoot 3 consecutive shots within a 1-inch target from a distance of 100 yards. I'm not a hunter, but I think people who are hunters probably realize the skill involved in that. And, there's, in this article specifically, it talks about 2 USDA employees taking down 71 deer with 71 shots. The deer they're not missing, they're not, missing the deer, the deer aren't taking off and running and like bleeding out in other people's yards, like
Those
it's.
numbers were cited by police chief, right?
Yes, that was, cited by a police lieutenant who oversaw the culling.
What town does it say?
That was in Chester, Pennsylvania, and the article also talks about culling in Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. But there's other articles online about
I have your articles here that you gave me last time. I tried to reach out to Jody Powers, playing phone tag. If you give me your cell phone, I left a message and told me to call me back. I guess our question is, how does that work on when it's a quarter-acre lot or 100 by 100 lot?
Sure. So actually, there's
And your neighbor is against it. How do you? And the deer come on your property, and your neighbors around you are all against it. They don't want it to be killed. How do you play that out?
Well, so there was another article that I don't have here, but it was written by a former USDA sharpshooter who was involved and he honestly said that he has done deer culling from children's playhouses, tree houses. They make really good vantage points. He said he really likes backyard decks because also the elevated position. But what they do typically is, they bait for a few weeks and put cameras on the site, and so they get sort of a deer path that brings the deer in, and then after about 3 weeks of doing that, right, deer are creatures of habit, so they get the routine, and then once they get the routine, then but that type of a situation, and I know it involves, it's a very small area, but it's specifically designed for that small area. And larger areas like,
I'm just picturing like the flats.
Mhm.
Deer come down in Miss Humphrey's backyard in Federal Hill, and you have a neighbor and a neighbor right behind you. You share the same
Right.
back fence.
Sure.
You see deer in people's backyard along there. How do they do that? Because that's the question I have is, Jody,
Well,
how
and
do
I
you
think
maintain
for
that?
quarter acre, it's exactly that. It's baiting and drawing them into a specific area, and they don't need much space. They don't need more, they don't need much because they're very skilled. They're not, they're not taking a shot from a long distance. In fact, it's preferable not to. And the article that the sharpshooter wrote, he was talking specifically about a calling that he did on Long Island, which is very densely populated.
Where?
And
Depends where.
Long Island.
Depends where on Long Island.
Sure.
If you go to the outskirts of Long Island, it's used wineries and it's huge. But if
I'm
you-
not sure specifically, he said Long Island.
That was Long Island.
Yeah, so he said Long Island, but he did say that, in areas where there's larger space, they would do it from the back of a pickup truck. In areas where it's more closely, population density, that it would be from like the backyard deck with permission of the homeowner.
My assumption is that not 100% of the properties are gonna be suitable.
No.
Right, yeah,
No.
there's gonna be.
I said, how do you,
there's gonna be a
the
select
man
few.
behind
The goal is to
you
do
has
something.
kids.
And that's
over
part of
there.
The goal is to do something.
Part of the
Right, they don't
baiting-
have to be
baiting approach,
100%
right?
suitable,
Yeah.
because you're not taking out 100%
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
deer.
You bait them into an area that's conducive, and again, it's not.
To circle back about
It's not
baiting and feeding the animals.
killing all.
because We were quickly doing some Googling. There is an ordinance currently about feeding animals. It prohibits it within the municipality. It's 517.
We just,
Yeah.
that's what we just talked about. MGS got animal control who runs it, so.
And then for baiting, I guess my only question would be, and I know that obviously they want to bait to drive them into small traffics, but I think that baiting for the purposes of hunting is actually illegal within the state of New Jersey for traditional licensing. So I don't know what process they would take to bait and drive it for this, but that's another complexity.
Yeah, I think it's allowed
I
under,
think that that's a specific point about these being programs supported by the state itself.
Gotcha, okay.
There's sort of like, it seems that there's special consideration
For those rules.
for this.
Yeah. For example, they use silencers, that's also not typically allowed, but in an instance like this, there are things that they allow that are not on,
Yeah,
that don't follow
And
the
again,
regulations.
this is not open to the general public. This is not something that like, hey, it's come shoot whatever you want in Bloomingdale this weekend. Like, it's not that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm happy to give you these. I brought actually a copy, for example, I know we talked about Raritan Valley Community College and the deer surveys that they do. I have a copy actually of the deer survey that they prepared for Saddle River, talking about our good friends up the road. So this is, if the town were to, work with Raritan Valley to conduct a deer survey, this would be the expectation of what you could receive.
And again, that's the starting point for all this is a survey to identify
Can I have it?
Yeah,
population and its
absolutely.
range.
And then this is actually a presentation that Jay Kelly, who runs Raritan Valley, the center there that does the deer surveys, that's stuff like that. And then this is the article about the USDA sharpshooter.
And John, your earlier point about the cost, where's it going to come from? Again, there's a grant program for this specifically within the state.
But that would, be honest with you, that would be the only way, if we are able to get to that point.
And again, too, these aren't quick solutions. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. You have to have a survey done. You have to apply for the grant, et cetera. All that takes time, but that's kind of part of the point, a little bit about why we've been so persistent with this is population growth is in deer is not linear, right? So this spring, the group that we're talking about, the herd that we're talking about, is somewhere around 20 individuals, 6 fawns this year that I have pictures of them standing together. So like it isn't the same fawn that I've seen 6 times, it's 6 fawns together this year. Those 6 fawns in a year or 2 will produce another 6, 8.
Oh, probably 12,
I
because
get all that.
usually one deer produces 2 per
It's a
year.
chronic- You get to a chronic wasting disease issue that exists at some point too. I also think from a budgetary standpoint, and obviously we want to seek grants and funding, but to be candid, we just discussed spending $55,000 a year every year on a garbage truck. We provided raises for staff that I think was well deserved, right? We have to take care of our own. If we're talking about the number of deer, $200 a deer, right? Even if it was 20 deer, you're talking $4,000, 55. So the number based upon the rough math they're giving us, I think is something that we should seek, right? Obviously from a grant, but then discuss like, is that worthwhile for our own, given the way that we spend up here. So
I mean, what's the cost?
they said around $200 to $300 a year in processing is all you pay.
The number of deer that we gotta get.
No, I'm saying if we, I'm just saying if we did 20 deer.
400?
Why, you know someone?
No, I'm just saying, well, they talked about a coin that was 71 deer, they're talking about a herd that's 20 plus that is hit by his estimation. When, even if it's 20 deer, that's $5,000 at $200.
But if it's 100, that's 20,000 now. If it's 1,000, that's $200,000.
I agree, so that's where you need a rare, that's where you need the rare.
Well, there's 6 in your backyard.
That's why you need the rare. That's why you need the rare in the study, but I'm gonna make the argument that it's probably highly unlikely when we consider Chester, Pennsylvania doing 71 deer, that we do more than Chester, Pennsylvania, right? Like, it's gonna be lower than that, so let's
Well,
not.
and Saddle River does far lower than that. I mean,
Yeah,
they're talking about like 10, you know, like, because it's also one of those things where you start to control it,
It's not just.
and maybe the cost.
No need to get ahead of ourselves, I'm just pointing out.
We're way ahead of ourselves.
Exactly.
But you
We can
sit
see
there,
grants.
$200 a deer, then you gotta pay for the baiting, then you gotta, it's not just $200.
I know, budgetarily, that's not, I'm saying.
I didn't wanna-
I just wanna see
they weren't
the
even
grant,
close to
let's
that.
not write it off for budgetary reasons.
Right, and
When
if
we
you're
spend the way we spend.
donating the food to a food pantry, I don't know if there's some sort of
Yeah.
write-off.
I don't know that, I don't know that a borough is.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
we don't
I don't know that
get
there's
right
any. That's damn good.
But I got a raccoon problem. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Do you want some
right?
medicine for your brain?
Thank you.
But, and actually along the cost, I mean, you talk about the cost, but I mean, what's the cost, you know, again, all the police having to respond to deer-related accidents, what's the cost of
Oh,
that?
that's a flat fee they pay for a cleanup service. I know we can get that from Danny. At one point he told me.
I mean, how much do you,
we
well, how much do you pay for a deer, yeah?
We use Space One, they come down, they feed the animals. They come and take it, Space One does.
Yeah.
We have a contract with them, that they come down, take them, feed the deer, they feed their animals with. So we're helping them. And I know the state has somebody they hire to come on the highways and pick them all up.
We can do that and give them to Space Farms after they cull them. We can give them to Space Farms. Yeah, we can do that. Sounds good to me.
Anyone else?
And John, just for my own understanding, there is no permit process for them to hire someone to get rid of what their problem
Right
is?
now, there's no hunting.
In your backyard?
You have to be 100 feet away from any residential area to even start.
So there is no way of doing
Good evening. I was here a couple weeks ago.
Name and address. Name and address.
Kenneth Packer, 8 Leary Ave.
Okay.
Okay. Grandfather of Michael Pachetti. You know, as a fireman.
I haven't seen him in a while.
He's 3 jobs and putting himself through college. So, yeah, busy. I was here about rank control, and you at that time had said to me, there is no rank control in New Jersey. Okay. Now, I went home and I did my due diligence, and unfortunately, after my due diligence was done, it was misplaced. But
What I did read after we spoke, this
Yeah.
might be where you, because I started looking myself.
yeah,
I believe in the state of New Jersey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't, that a landlord could only rate your rent by a certain percentage.
no,
That's what I read.
Yeah, no, that's only a suggestion, unfortunately.
I thought the state of New Jersey had a cap on that.
I wish they did, or they wouldn't have been able to raise mine
I did not look into it.
over $1,210.
I know what you told us last time, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I started digging into it a little bit because I don't blame you for.
Yeah. Okay, New Jersey has, if I may just read this 2 paragraphs, I printed out the whole thing twice so I could give it to you, and somehow it got misplaced, but it's not misplaced under Google. New Jersey has no statewide rent control law, but individual municipalities can enact their own ordinances, with about 1 in 5 municipalities currently having some form of rent control. So, rent control is completely legal and actually, in my mind, an excellent thing, because New Jersey is in such bad shape. People in other parts of the country don't even get. I mean, we're catching up with the likes of Alaska and Hawaii as far as costs of living. I mean, when you have the ability to make a 4% max for a yearly, something like that, you're helping your senior citizens, you're helping your town. And like I said, how rent control works in New Jersey. Basically, municipal authorities, local governments decide whether to implement rent control and set the specific rules. They have various, but Jersey City, East Orange, Highland Park, it's, like I said, I'm so sorry that I didn't bring the paperwork that I got.
Well, do you have it home, that you know where it is? And you can drop it up to us during the week so we can actually see it?
Or just give the website to
I'd be happy to, find it.
I don't know, I didn't look into it because it was on us to.
Yeah, I could find it, and,
Here's what we're gonna do, all right? Because we went through this the last time you were here, and I understand what you're saying, and for your rent to go up as much as you're saying is kind of ludicrous, kind of crazy.
Well, that's
We will have, we're gonna instruct our attorney to look into it, what we can and cannot do. Okay? And then we'll have an answer for you. Can you email me, so I have your email, and then we can communicate back and forth on what we find?
Okay, can I text you?
I prefer you go on jdamato@bloomingdalenj.net, or have Mike send it to me. Mike has my number.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have Michael do it because I don't have any presence on.
Yeah, just have Mike do it. I believe he has my number. If not, he can get my number and he can text me your an email.
As long as you okay it with him, he'll be fine with that, and he can do that in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else? You can go first this time.
I just want to move on the 86 there. Got the rent control things. I looked that up myself. Considering we're going to have old housing going in, we really should do something. I know we have it for the low income and the moderate, but what about for the market value?
Yeah, I told the gentleman here, because I have to go back and see where I found it on Google, that municipality can set a percentage of what they can go up on a yearly basis. And I thought the state had a percentage that was already set. And I thought it was 4%. I obviously can't find it that quick here, but I'm gonna look into that and I'll communicate with them. And then we're gonna instruct Dawn to look into it. It might be something worthwhile
What do we do about Waterfall Village? Do they have something where they don't increase the rent tremendously? I'm sure they don't.
Where's that?
Waterfall Village?
I don't know, I just don't know, because I never really rented, right? When I rented, it was a long time ago. I don't know that, I can ask people that actually live there, you know.
Because there's something to be done, especially if this new housing goes up, because that's gonna be,
For him, for the gentleman that was here, he said his rent went up over $1,000.
that's insane. That's,
You know, and
It's ridiculous.
that's, I move for anything, but
it's a concern for the town and for any residents that move in and that do start renting. And if that's a precedent that place is setting, that's not very good.
Mm.
Aaron Esner, 30 Real Navigate. Related to this topic, just out of curiosity, do you know how many housing units, like rented or owned, just, accommodations in the town we have, like?
You mean like two-family homes, and that we do have a list of that, because they're supposed to register with us if they're a rental property. We do have that information. I mean, obviously, the bigger complexes, we know Waterfall and Treetop will be, Forest Drive, Avalon Bay, we know where those rental property are, but there's a lot of two-family homes that are in town. And this specific gentleman here, he lives, I call it the Gary Todd Estates, which is right next to the IGA, the townhouses there. All right, that's where he lives, and there's one gentleman that owns, I think, 4 of them. So that's that guy's rental property. Because he bought it from the original owner, he used to own the IGA. But anyway, that's a long story short. But we do have a database of rental properties.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, relative to in the town, there's 10,000 housing units and 15% of them are rentals. Just wondering what that percentage.
I don't know the percentage. All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, motion to close late public. Second. All in favor? Aye. We do not have an executive session tonight, so motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you all for coming out, appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday.